Thank you very much for your patience with me tonight. I just asked that after we get through with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we could have a moment or two of silence to commemorate those who perished in the 9/11 tragedy 24 years ago. If we can start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting. For those of you at home watching, welcome also. First item up in tonight's agenda is public hearing on the 2025 Poestenkill Comprehensive Plan. And Susan Roth from LaBerge is here gracious enough to make the initial presentation.
Are we gonna do it right now?
The public hearing, yes.
Okay.
Please, if you can, Susan.
I wish I would have left it up front. I get help. We're gonna have to turn off the lights. So, it's real dark in here, it'll be good for these interviews. All right, and then here is the, yeah, could you leave it open a minute while I type it out?
Can you just put this into Outlook?
Oh, here we go. Read it out. Right over the top of your head, Tom. All right. All right. I hope everybody can see it okay. All right. As Tom mentioned, my name is Susan Roth, and I'm from LaBerge Group, and our company helped the town update its comprehensive plan. And I'm just checking to make sure that everything's clear. So this is we had a CPC public hearing, and we incorporated the comments from the CPC public hearing, and this is the town board public hearing, which leads to the final adoption of the plan. So let's see, if I need to page it. Oh, here we go. This has been like at least a year when we started this process. And so what I wanted to do, first of all, is I wanted to talk about the Comprehensive Plan Committee and their part in this process, and the importance of a comprehensive plan and the update. And then we'll move into the vision and guiding principles and how they work with your plan and how you would implement it. So, and lastly, there are several sources that we should really credit as part of this plan. So, but first, let's talk about the CPC comprehensive plan members, and here's their list right here. And we were very grateful to have a very broad section of your community, lots of different interests that were represented for in the CPC, and this plan really kind of represents a lot of different principles and a little bit of compromise by some of the committee members when they compromise and coming to terms with the importance of some of the issues that were raised. One of the things that's really important with the comprehensive plan is it is the guiding principle for your community, and it represents a shared vision, and it gives you framework for your future decisions. And it's like, and you have to do this first before you can change the zoning and other important documents in your town that will lead you to a better future. And it's a foundation for making future policy in the town. It's also the town's to-do list, because there's a lot of projects incorporated into the comprehensive plan, and I'll show you how that works at the end of this presentation. But first, let's talk about the role of the Comprehensive Plan Committee. They represent the community. They attend all the meetings, which they did. It was great because most of those meetings were attended by at least all but one or two. They had to be absent for various reasons. And it was a different one or two, and they all kept in touch and they talked about the issues. They also helped to facilitate the public workshops, and they evaluated and provided revisions that they thought were appropriate in the comprehensive plan after we had proposed them. And they also proposed changes that were instrumental to the completion of this plan. So, okay. But this is kind of how it works. You start with a community-wide vision, which is that first page if you've taken a look at the comprehensive plan. It's right there on the first few pages, the vision. And that was developed through your previous comprehensive plan, and it was just slightly revised to update it a little bit. So really your previous work on the 2019 version that you had was what most of those principles they were looked at, and it wasn't discarded. So and one of those things was your original vision. And many of the members that were part of the CPC were also instrumental in creating that draft comprehensive plan from 2019. So after you adopt the comprehensive plan, though, the next thing is the implementation, and that's revising your zoning if needed, and pursuing certain projects that are named in the plan. It'll make it easier to be able to, when you're seeking funding for a project, it'll be easier to get funding if it's mentioned in your comprehensive plan, because the comprehensive plan also tells you why. And so that's very important. This is your vision. I'm not going to read it. It is online in the draft comprehensive plan. But this vision kind of represents a broad spectrum of your residents. People enjoy living here because it is rural in nature, and it's beautiful, the rural, beautiful rural, and a lot of people in all of the public workshops and public input, what was a common theme was they wanted to keep it rural looking. They wanted to have a sense of place, and they enjoyed the community, living in the community because of the community effort. Let's go to the next thing. This is your land use map. The blue areas are where the density is kind of planned, and you can see they're around the major areas of your major highways, and they center around where the hamlet is. And the red part is like a medium density, and then but when you get up to like where the escarpment is, it definitely has to stay low density because of the constraints of that particular area. Oh, let me go back. We had guiding principles for most areas in your town that related to certain topics that were of interest to the CPC members and things that the town could affect. And one of them was recreation. One of the projects that the CPC thinks that we should pursue is to create a recreational opportunity that gives the community chances to gather, and there were several different options that were discussed. So that could be, that's something that would be discussed in a recreational committee or something like that at a later date. We don't have to set the exact spot on the map where a town park should be or something like that. All we have to do is just say generally, yes, I think that's probably a good idea. The time frame on this is not set as well because you don't know what opportunities you'll get as time moves forward for establishing a park or obtaining a grant to be able to get the amenities that you need. Another one was town services. They have excellent town services here. The only thing that we thought that the town board could do a little bit better is increasing their communication with residents, and especially since a lot of people are this is more of a bedroom community. They don't have time to come to meetings and things like that. You're doing a pretty good job with your Zoom, taping your meetings and putting them online, but there were other things that we discussed that might inform and engage residents on a more regular basis that might be helpful. Transportation is also something that we discussed. One of the things that Tom has been concerned about is the bus service, availability of bus service to the city of Troy and to Albany. It's right now there's probably not enough people there, but we've included in the plan because at some future point there might be the density, or they might change their minds on how the routes go. Another thing that we discussed at the committee level was the importance of having safe roads, especially during the wintertime in Poestenkill. And since a lot of the unsafe roads are centered around like the state and the county roads, one of the things that we discussed is Poestenkill established committee to engage with the people who take care of those roads to make sure that they're doing the most that they can to make sure that those roads are safe. And economic development, most of the economic development that we discussed would occur in the hamlet, in the hamlet sections where there seems to be room for new business and new business growth. But you do still have some areas that are just outside the hamlet that are for larger uses. And it's important to make sure that those businesses continue to thrive because they provide tax revenue to the town and jobs to many of the new members. But one of the most important things were just maintaining the rural character, conservation, and open space without being too heavy-handed on proposed development. And there are ways that you can do that through zoning to identify those areas that are most important to save and having them set aside for conservation or something like that on those properties and allowing other parts to develop and still be in harmony with the whole town. So, okay, and so, that's the plan. And so now we're going to talk about implementation. After we're kind of at the third big bar there, and there are several things that you're going to be doing with this plan that this plan would help guide you to do, and that's the zoning. It's applying for grants for projects. It's doing projects within your town that are put in there, and it's pursuing enforcement and development review of other things with your existing boards, of course. And the comprehensive plan helps those boards do it, because now, after you adopt the plan, there's a little box on the seeker form. Is this consistent with the comprehensive plan? And you want to make sure that future development is consistent with the goals of your comprehensive plan. Okay, and then another thing is we identified several key projects that were important. One of them was the development of the land conservation plan, and they wanted to have their own updated land conservation. The NRI is great, but they wanted to have something that would help to support future changes in the zoning law. So it could be a shared resource between the planning board, conservation board, and the town board to create, so you could create things like cluster development, ridgeline protection, and buffers, and kind of use shared water resources as a way to be able to not prohibit development, but guide development where it's best to be best places for development without losing any of your character, which is really important. Critical environmental areas was something else. Would be create a series of maps that would basically be updating the NRI, and there is funding for those two projects right there that are available that we've identified. Update the zoning law is also another one. It will help to create the review environment needed to be able to support conservation of your rural character in the community. And wayfinding is, we noticed that there are a lot of visitors that come into Poestenkill to visit, like the Buttermilk Falls. Is that the name of it? Yeah. So, and areas that are off in the escarpment, and people get lost and they park in inappropriate places and things like that. So, this gives you a way to be able to seek funding to design those wayfinding plans, because there's funding available out though. And key project 5 was create paths for information and figure out the best ways to inform residents of board decisions before the town and create new ways for residents to be heard. And a lot of that is digital, you know, because you have a lot of people who don't attend meetings because they've come back from a long day work. But you still want to hear from those folks to see what you can do for them.
Do we have questions?
Yeah, if you can hold the questions, I'm almost done.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, another key project was improved town recreation. That is a process that's going to take some time and some communication and probably some discussion between the needs of the community and the maintenance requirements of those types of things. But we preliminarily discussed a couple of places where a town park might work. And then agricultural land study, there's one thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to encourage the preservation of farming homesteads. And one way to do that is to support economic incentives. Some of them are available through Rensselaer County. There's things that you could do probably in town Poestenkill to help relieve them from taxes and support them to keep those farms going. All right, and this is an example of an implementation matrix that we have at the backup plan. So each of the goals and objectives that are in the plan are represented here. And it's like about 5 or 6 pages at the back of the plan. And these goals and objectives are presented earlier in the plan. So for example, number one deals with housing. The guiding principle is above, and it talks about affordable housing and things like that. So, which are good, but we don't want to. We wanted to shape that housing to something that would be most useful to Poestenkill. So, 1.1 is improve sidewalks in the hamlet of Poestenkill, where connections between residential uses, services, and businesses would benefit from connections, okay? And then you have a timeline, and O means ongoing, so whenever the opportunity presents itself, that's when you should pursue it. Partners, that's mostly a town board function. They're the ones who would identify those areas where the connections are needed, and they would engage the consultants or the people who would build that for them. And potential funding sources are mentioned in the next one, and we've identified 3 preliminary potential agencies that have grants that would fund this particular project. So that all the way through this plan, every single goal, every single strategy that we've mentioned in the plan, we have this included in the matrix, and you can clearly see if it's fundable or not. Some of these projects don't rise to a level where they're a key project where you have to have more funding for it, but a lot of these certainly are easily, these are things that the town board could implement when they see fit, when they're going through, requests from residents and things like that, and they can flip back to this matrix, and it becomes a kind of like a to-do list almost, because they can go back and they can see where the funding comes from, and when they identify the area where that transition is needed for that particular topic, like sidewalks for example, then they have a couple of places that they could look for funding to help fund those funding for those particular projects in the form of grants. So, so that is, I think, the last slide of my presentation. I just wanted to credit the Poestenkill Natural Resources Inventory, the County Department of Economic Development and Planning for updates to parcel uses, and the public for their input at the workshop and the meetings, and especially the CPC, who worked very hard in helping us put this together. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Susan. Now open it up for questions.
Mike?
And I'll move this. And Archie back here.
You're driving very well.
Thank you.
I guess on some of these items, like the cluster homes, was everybody on the committee in favor of that?
I think they're in favor of the idea of that when it works in your community.
That was not an answer.
Yeah, so, well, no, because the clustering is not something that you have to absolutely compel. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense for clustering, but sometimes it does. It just depends on the type of product and what you're doing. So, you know,
Because I remember
how
going,
I would build it in a code, if that was the thing, is I would make it an optional choice. And it depends. If you have a property where there's a kill behind it in the back of the property, then you would want to consider clustering instead of trying to disturb that stream to be able to build a couple more houses.
or just build less houses.
Well, sometimes that's an option too, but it just depends on, like I said, it just depends on where it is, the size of the property, where the stream would be, you know, so there's a lot of, it just needs to be in their toolbox.
I just remember going up to the one at the church, the open house that you had, and you had three selections, like, you know, you'd have like a picture of cluster development, and then you'd say, like it
Mm-hmm.
or comment.
Mm-hmm.
And then a ton of people would write on the comment, no, because you didn't give a place to put, I don't like it. And I don't know, that's why I just could go back to my question, did the whole group want cluster housing?
I would say that 75% of them,
Okay.
it was a group decision. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
But like I said, you know, cluster housing isn't something that should be always compelled. It's just that you have to look at the circumstances of the property to be able to do that. It's like, you don't want to lose a ridge line to not allowing clustering. Because then everybody sees that house on the top of the hill, and that's something that they definitely did not want.
Right, but that's not a cluster housing, it's just.
Yeah, but there's certain, you know, if a developer can come in and show that he can, with engineering, that he could get on the top of that hill safely, then you have a hard time turning it down. So this would,
Okay, but
Right.
if he wants to do that, he might be able to do that anyway.
no, not if you compel him to cluster at that point. So it's all about, you know, what I explained through the process of if you want to retain your rural atmosphere, instead of having like a farm parceled out to where you have 1 acre
Yeah,
zone.
yeah.
You can't do 1 acre, you know, if it's 100 acres, it can't get 100 lots off of it because you have to have infrastructure, you have to have roads, you have to have stormwater drainage, and you have to take a look at the conditions of the property itself, you know, whether or not it's feasible to be able to put a house there. After that's said and done, let's say that they say that they can do 80 houses. So you want to further restrict those people and say, well, we want that grove of trees to remain a buffer between the front of the property and the trees to remain on the property so we don't have to look at the houses next to the road. Things like that. That gives the planning board to be able to.
See, those are different things, so that's not pushing cluster housing, so that's.
It is, because those things are involved with cluster housing. And sometimes it might be necessary, I'm not saying it would always be necessary, but sometimes that's the best route to take. And it could be not even just clustering for single-family houses, because that's what most people think about that. It could be just providing a smaller space of development for for townhouses or something like that. So it would make the townhouses a little bit more affordable. It would also lead to development proposals that are more varied and maybe interesting. And if you remember seeing the senior cluster housing development, the single family houses that all faced in,
Yeah, I think,
that was super popular.
yeah, that,
That was,
well,
and that
because
is,
it's single family, as long as it's well,
that's a cluster development.
well,
That's an example.
going, yeah, I guess in the senior, is that really gonna be affordable? Or more
It
affordable, or?
doesn't matter if there's a market for it. It'll be more affordable than single family house. And it gives them a sense of community and walkability, you know, because when I get older, I just want to be close to the people that I want to fry fish with and play cards with. So that was the whole thing. A lot of people don't want the yards. They don't want the big sprawling estates and stuff like that. They want that when they're young. But when they get older, they want to have a standard of living that's similar to what they had, but it has, you know, it still has a little bit of privacy in it. And like I said, a lot of people loved that type of layout. They weren't in love with like townhomes along the side.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so a lot of people weren't in love with those, but, you know, but they do have a necessary purpose in any community, because the townhomes and those types of configuration, those are most appropriate for people who are very young families and they want to be very close to their neighbors so their kids can play together and things like that. They can form a community that way. Or for a single person who doesn't want people, he doesn't want a family or something like that, but he can't really afford to live in a single family home.
I guess for me, the way I look at it though, is we don't really have those things in Poestenkill right now. And most of the people that I talk to like Poestenkill the way it is. And
Yeah.
bringing those things in is kind of changing it.
Yeah, okay, but just also consider this when you're thinking about that as far as like cluster housing. Do you want, right now, your zoning code allows 1 acre and 1/2 acre single family homes. Do you want do you want to lose all of your character of the property? Because right now it's not protected in any way, other than if it's a wetland.
Right, no, I understand that.
Right,
But
yeah,
you
and so you want to be able to diversify the way that it's going to be presented to you instead of the way that's the cheapest for the developer to maximize his profit.
which is cluster housing.
It may or may not be cluster housing, it may just
Are
be.
you buying breakfast first?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
I'm good, I can stop, and you're not the committee, I just had a question.
No, well,
I just have one question.
but, you know, I am an expert in zoning, so I kind of understand your concern
Yeah,
because I comes up with a lot of other people. But I just want to make sure that you're just thinking it as an overall tool. You're not thinking it as a command that everything be clustered.
Right, and there's other ways
Right.
of getting there too.
Right. Well, there are, you know, you can do it by, you know, but sometimes it's not viable at that point. If you make everybody have 4 acre property and a house on the 4 acre property and hide it from, you know, they lose a lot here, lose a lot there, you know, then it becomes unaffordable to be able to develop. And that brings up another host of problems.
I'm in
Okay.
trouble, so I'm gonna
All
stop
right,
talking.
is there anybody else?
Any other questions? Susan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, what I would like,
Pancakes and.
Just look for it, that's all.
Okay, we got it.
thank you. What I would like to do is hold the public hearing open for 30 days to get comments back from residents and so on. Do I have a motion to hold the public hearing open for 30 days? So, okay, seconded, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Frank. David, thank you. All those in favor of holding the public hearing open for another 30 days? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
I don't think only 30 days.
Sure.
30 days of breakfast,
I'm just kidding.
every day for a month. I'm Frank. Yes.
David. For the committee, excuse me. I'm sorry.
We've reviewed the bills and found them good to be paid.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to accept the report of the audit committee.
Motion.
Thank you, David. Second, all those in favor of supporting the report of the audit committee?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Next item up is public comment period. Public is invited to make comments, give comments. If you do have them, we just ask that you step up to the podium and address the board, and no cross for discussion. And we just ask you stay active in a civil manner. Thank you very much. I guess that's it for the public comment, first public comment period. Next item is the town clerk minutes of the August 28th, 2025 special town board meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes from that night?
Yes, I move that we accept the minutes.
Thank you very much, David. June 2nd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Following is correspondence. We have 3 items. The library market day will be held this coming Saturday over at the library area from 9 until 2. Noon, my bad. Okay, 9 until noon. Thank you very much, David. Poestenkill Electronic Recycling Day will be held on Saturday, September 27th, here in our parking lot. There is a poster as far as what items aren't accepted, or are accepted, I should say, and please take advantage of it. We do this on an annual basis. And Sue, there's no cost on this, correct? Thank you very much, Sue. And the third item up is a reminder that DJ and the Highway Department will be running their Poestenkill brush pickup on the week of 9/29 to 10/2.
10-3.
10/3, I'm sorry, excuse me. Thank you. 2025. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to the liaison reports. Planning board.
We had a lot line adjustment in September. That's it.
It was a very quick meeting from what I understand.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rob. Okay. Zoning? We have the meeting, zoning board meeting minutes in our packet. A detailed meeting on August 19th, I believe it was. And just so noted. Okay, next item up is fire company. Dan, please. Thank you very much.
Evening. Calls for the month of August, we had 17 runs total, 11 emergency medical service calls, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 mutual building collapse, 1 power line down, outside, 1 outside fire, 1 cover assignment, 1 public assistance call. We're at 222 calls to date. Just want to remind everybody, school is in session now. So there's a lot of increased traffic now that you're going to see, especially around Poestenkill Elementary and Algonquin Middle School, especially when school is about to go into session, and then when the end of the day, we've got a lot of school buses out there throughout the town, throughout the day. Be very mindful now. We've got kids alongside the road waiting for buses. School buses have the right of way. See the flashing lights? You have to stop. All right. Passing a stop school bus, you're endangering the welfare of a child. Right? End of discussion. There's no reason why you should be passing a stop school bus with its red lights flashing. So just be mindful of that. Also, heating season's right around the corner. Okay, we don't want to admit it, but it is rapidly coming upon us. So this is the time to make sure your heating appliances have been properly serviced before you have to turn them on. Get your chimneys cleaned out because this is the time with squirrels and things like that built nest in your chimneys, and the first time you fire it on, your carbon monoxide detectors are going off. Hopefully you have them installed. Carbon monoxide detectors are going off, your smoke detectors are going off because your flues are blocked. So it's important to get all this stuff in preparation for these cold seasons that are going to be coming up onto us real quick. And that brings up with carbon monoxide. It is code, every single residence and also business has to have carbon monoxide detector into it. All right, make sure that they're up to date, and that if they require batteries, you have fresh batteries put into it. It's a silent killer, and those carbon monoxide detectors have saved multiple lives out there. So it's one of those things. I know we don't like to be told what we have to have, but this is one of those things along with smoke detectors. It's been proven it does save lives. Thank you. Oh, one other thing, just like want to think quick, Sound Like Ambulance is continuing along with their fund drive. They're trying to get 2 Lucas devices. If anybody doesn't know what a Lucas is, it's a CPR machine. All right, it goes on. It's an automated CPR. If somebody has a heart attack and goes into cardiac arrest, this appliance is applied to them and provides constant CPR. One, it frees up rescuers from doing CPR and be able to administer other first aid and life-saving procedures. Also, it provides high efficient CPR, consistent CPR. And this is with the American Heart Association. This is the new guidelines on there. Is fast, efficient, high quality CPR. And this machine, there's other ones like it, but this Lucas device is what's able to provide that consistent high quality CPR. And it's been recognized as providing the highest, the best available outcome for somebody who is suffering a sudden cardiac death. They're in the process of trying to buy 2 of them. They're not cheap. They're right around $25,000 a piece. So they're in the process of trying to buy 2 of them. So each one of their ambulances have one of these devices onto them. So they're up there, if you happen to see out there, this is what they're doing. They've almost reached their goal. So we're just trying to put a big kind of push out there for this is one of the things, if you're looking, going past their sign, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to buy 2 of these devices. Thank you.
Dan, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you for a while about, because I know my memory was you were working with the code enforcement officer on potential buildings that are, and you mentioned there was a collapse, a partial, you don't have to get into the details of that house per se, but, or a building that had collapsed this month. So I just wanted to see how.
That was the mutual aid one we responded to.
Truck drove into a house.
That was.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yeah, that was
that's
mutual
totally
aid.
different. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's still my question is, how are you guys, I know you're working with Tracy. as far as
Working with
seeing
Tracy,
things.
coming up, identifying those buildings that are deemed dangerous. Okay, and that's where we're working with Tracy now and finding, getting and looking at, and it's up to him right now. He's going through, looking through building that he going to determine that are apparent immediate danger to anybody entering that building.
Right.
And then that's where we're going to proceed to go from there. And, we've been talking about that. Fortunately, we don't have a lot in the town. And then if Tracy, things that have been coming down, he has put me aware and said, look, if we had this building, but it has been rectified.
I noticed that recently, that home
Yes.
that is no longer there, which is good.
Right.
Right.
And, the big thing about it, we know people don't like big ugly placards, but the idea behind that is just notification that it's a dangerous situation. Because the last thing we want to do, because there's a whole placarding system that's out there that identifies vacant buildings, we don't want to do that because we don't want to necessarily just showing what every building that is vacant, because that can promote vagrants and things of this nature trying to get into the place. We're just looking to identify those buildings that if it is on fire and we go into it, there's a high probability that we may not come out. Like they don't have stairwells, that they don't have floors. You walk through the front door and you end up in the basement. Or you'll go out the second floor door in the back end, there is no porch onto it. It's just a 2-story drop. Things of this nature. And, those are things that we're coming across that would represent an immediate life hazard to first responders going in. And it's one of those things, it's up to the incident commander. And if you come up on a building with an X onto it, okay, it's a dangerous building. what's the probability if there's a life hazard inside? If there's a life hazard inside, we'd use the risk versus benefit thing. You know, we'll risk a lot to save a lot, but we're gonna risk nothing to save nothing. So that's the thing, but it just gives another tool in the toolbox for the incident commander to make that decision. Hey, do I believe that building is occupied? And it's just something out there for us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Can I ask one thing?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, did any of your members of the fire company do the stair climb at the plaza?
I don't know if anybody has done the stair climb at the
Did
plaza.
Joel do it this year?
I think Joel might have done it.
He usually does.
Yeah, usually
I
does.
don't
We
know.
usually have the members so that'll participate in the stair climb.
Thank you.
That's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Definitely not for the faint of heart. That's hats off to all those individuals that do that tower climb, because it's a worthwhile endeavor. Goes to a good fund, and it's hats off to everybody.
Thank you for the good friend. Thank you very much, Dan. Thanks for the question. Okay, next item up is the youth report. Gary Horton,
Great.
Library.
library. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm taking it down. I forget the library.
Excuse me, Susan.
Susan Patnod, representing Poestenkill Library. The statistics are for August of 2025. Our physical circulation was 1,234. Digital circulation was 874. Programming was 215 people. Total visits, 795. Our programming highlights included for pre-K and elementary, Friday Story Time with Ms. Sherry is consistently our best attended children's program in the month of August, with 10 to 15 kids and guardians each week. We had 3 teens come to the initial meeting of the Percy Jackson Book Club on August 14th. We had 12 attendees for Diamond Art on August 28th, and 44 people attended the End of Summer Ice Cream Social on August 27th. Coming attractions, as Tom mentioned, on Saturday, September 13th, this coming Saturday from 9 to 12 will be the Friends of the Library Fall Market Day. Thursday, September 18th, from 1 to 3, there will be job seeker assistance with the Rensselaer County Career Center. Thursday, also September 18th at 6 p.m., the Let's Dish program is going to be on grapes with the Ives Hollow Vineyard. And Wednesday, September 24th at 6 p.m. is a book talk on Margot's Journey with author Patricia Carley. And the Messages from Survivors Holocaust Remembrance exhibit is on display at the library through the month of September. Also, September is Library Card Sign-Up Month. We have a new patron challenge and a library advocate challenge with a prize for completing all the tasks by the end of October. And finally, there is a new story walk set up at the library for the fall months with corresponding enrichment projects in the children's room. Any questions?
Susan, thank you very much. Now we have the youth advisory report from Kara. We have finalized all our documents for ending camp with the health department and are moving onto the Halloween parade. I have reached out to the Poestenkill PTO and I'm waiting for them to confirm the date and time they are doing their trunk or treat so we can align with them. Tentatively, I am planning the parade for Sunday from October 26th, as long as that's the same day they are planning. More to follow, and we appreciate the cooperation of the fire department in that parade. Okay, Sand Lake Ambulance. Craig was gracious enough to supply a August call report. Total average time of 8 minutes for rendering service. Thank you very much. Okay, move on to discussion items.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You get 2 patent nods tonight. I think that's what you want.
Greg, I apologize.
That's all right.
No, I apologize to you.
When I started mentioning breakfast, you got hungry.
Yeah.
You better believe it, David. You better believe it.
And actually, I'm thinking about that. Like, you make it the condensed version because I do not want to go into breakfast.
Greg Panot, Conservation Advisory Council. Good evening, Supervisor Russell and town board members. The CAC met on September 3rd to discuss the draft comprehensive plan that was presented to the town board and the subject of tonight's public hearing, actually now the 30-day public hearing. So the CAC offers these comments. We concur with the overall vision of the draft plan, including the vision statement that Susan talked about tonight. We did note there were several instances where particular maps were not up to date. Camp Rotary, which is just about over 1,000 acres, and Snake Hill Cliffs are not mentioned in those maps. Susan told me that because they were in the NRI, actually they can't be changed. But she suggested putting text in there to make note, because I think it's 12 maps all show other protected lands, and that's omitted. Goal 11.3 encourages the CAC to work with the planning board, again, to protect natural beauty, rural character of the town. And certainly we would suggest that, the planning board notify the CAC, or we work together, and basically all the boards in the town work together as we roll out the comprehensive plan as the town board sees fit. And likewise, the CAC would like to, again, note that we're certainly available for any secret reviews if the planning board believes that we would be a benefit in those reviews. Key Project 3 discusses changes to local zoning and talks about new strategies to protect the rural character of the town. Again, I think Susan got into that tonight. Again, encourage a higher standard of new development to protect the environment. The draft plan then lists 7 provisions that are in Key Project 3 to achieve those goals. One of them is public water, encouraging development like the public water in areas there is public water, but where there isn't, we suggest adding an 8th provision for enhanced water protection in any proposal that came in to the town. So these comments are in addition to what we had previously noted from the CAC about adequate resources, cost and personnel. Susan mentioned the availability of grants. We also know that we also would note that the draft plan calls for researching a significant amount of data and the need for personnel who could assist in researching that data. And perhaps the county is a resource that could assist should we go forward with any of the recommendations. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to address any questions.
We'd like to review this and go over with Susan and be back to you and back to the committee, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time and for your detailed report. And again, I apologize for omitting you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, discussion items next. Okay, comprehensive 2025 comprehensive plan. Public hearing will be held open for another 30 days. Any comments from the board? All right. Next item up, 2025 budget amendment for Record Farm Road Culvert Bridge Replacement Project. What we're doing is we're putting into the line the $650,000 contract proposal from J.H. Malloy into line item 251-204, I believe it is, in order to then receive the money from M&T Bank to pay off Malloy for the work that they do, be it now for August and September, and then finishing up in October, hopefully. That's the time frame that we have.
It'll be done next week.
Oh, we're going to be done next week? Wow. Impressive. Okay. So, but we'll have that officially in the budget, and we'll have the money coming in from M&T. In the interim, we are borrowing $390,000 from a current T-bill, 30-day T-bill on the highway from this year in order to temporarily move in and pay the first installment on the Malloy bill. And then when we get the money latter part of September, that money will be replaced in that the $390,000 will be put back into that T-bill to make it whole again for the highway. And then the balance of the remaining $260,000 will be utilized to pay for whatever the bills that Malloy sends forth to cover the work at Bedford Farm Road Bridge. And that's the reason for the budget amendment and to handle this properly. Next item up, okay, emergency notification from our August 28th meeting. Town residents come up and describe the situation we had. I was able to get information on 3 different firms, waiting for a little more detailed information from a fourth. David was gracious enough to make mention of down my call and got information from them. They appeared to be the least expensive of the options that we have and give us the greatest flexibility on amount that we have to put down. Since it wouldn't be, they had 3 different plans, but since this would be an irregular usage on our part, only based on emergencies, we'd be able to purchase, say, 5,000 credits, and the credit is 1 text message up to 160 characters. And we could get, for a situation, say, in the water department, a little over 400 texts going out to initiate the notice, and then another 400 or so when the problem is resolved. You have that information, and you can look through it, and we can talk a little further, but that's the initial offer that we received.
How do you plan on collecting all the residents' information?
We would have to do the work. Our water department does have some phone numbers now. We would have to reach out and ask the people, tell people what's going on, and ask them if they would supply a legitimate number that we could use. And then that could be, we would collect the numbers, put them on a spreadsheet, and then that could be imported into Down My Calls network, and the numbers would exist. And then when we want to make an emergency call, whoever the administrator is, be it water department, or be it somebody in the town clerk's office, or myself, we would contact them, and then they would broadcast out to whom we selected.
Tom, is Water District 1 paying for that service?
We would have to figure out how to do it.
Well, because the only example I heard you guys use it for was for water district repairs.
Right,
or
there
issues.
might be other situations, but right now it's water district number 1, maybe water district number 2, and give us flexibility to address other emergency situations in the town. That we have the options of looking at that and trying to figure out what should be the best and how, if we can afford them.
Are we gonna lock into something before budget workshops, or are we gonna wait till we have a budget set to figure out if we can afford to do this?
I would like to get some feedback from the town board. I'd put the proposals out and just asking for people to review and come back to us. Would like to try and come back with an answer for the beginning of October, such that we can move, see if we can afford it and put it in. So that was the reason why I put that out. And if there's anybody else has another company name or whatever, I'm more than happy to call them and do research and see what we can find to try and come up with some type of viable notification system. There was one firm that gave us information, Everridge, that East Greenbush uses, and is very, they say works very well for them. The young lady over there gave a lot of information, gave a lot of time on the phone. That costs $500 to $6,000 a year, which is a little steep for us. So.
It'd be nice if there was a way that we could broadcast rather than specifically have to call everybody individually. But there's really no mechanism for it here. We don't have radio station, we don't have a TV station for Poestenkill. The only thing I was thinking is it would be nice if the fire company could make a special siren that would say, water problem. But you can't do that.
We get in trouble with the siren we got now.
I know. I'm just saying that we're stuck in one of those strange situations. We have no newspaper, we have no TV, no radio, and we have to figure out something else. But I think we should put it off a lot of this discussion until after we're done with the budget.
All right, thank you very much, David. Sure. Okay. All right. Next item, okay, New York State 2022 annual financial report submittal. UHY has worked and come up with a 2020, ready to submit a 2022 annual financial report, depending upon what the board feels should be done. And that's up for discussion right now. I realize it's taken a long time to get to this point. She has finished 2022 information. It is ready to be submitted. She has started she's working into 2023 to get that report finished and get that put in. But first things first, we have to make a decision on the 2022 financial report. Whether to go through it and go with submittal on that.
Has she given us a final, the last thing that she said not a final? I think, or was it a final?
It's a draft ready to go, just needing the board approval.
It seemed to me that there was a lot of numbers that were confusing and worrisome to me on what was submitted. I don't know if there's other folks in the town where there seemed a lot of numbers that didn't seem like they were accurate. I don't have it in front of me now, but I know it was some things in the youth department were out of whack. It was state funding numbers that didn't seem right. And there seemed to be a few things. I don't know if anybody else on the board noticed those things as well.
I called them up. After the last meeting when we decided that we didn't really want to have them anymore, I called up, Tom gave me the contact information, I called them up and talked to her and said, the board doesn't know what you're doing. Can you let us know what you're doing? Because she was under the impression that everybody was happy, but she didn't see our meetings, I guess. So, a couple days after that, she sent a fairly extensive email with all that data. And I think she also offered to explain anything on it. I gotta be honest, other than making that phone call, I had nothing to do or understand what was going on in 2022. So I was just happy that she finished and made an explanation to all the board members. I said, just go to the website and get everybody's email and send out what you're doing, because we think and I'm not gonna put this in a bad sense, we just didn't know that she was working because we haven't heard anything. And so she wrote that extensive email. So I guess I don't have a familiarity with those numbers. And I guess for Eric, maybe just give her a call and do those questions.
All right?
So would you prefer to table this until the next month meeting?
That's right.
So that we had time to see what she says?
I can ask those questions. I mean, I still think we should be working on them still, but I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority here. I offered last board meeting to work on putting an RFP out there and trying to find someone new. I understand we have to work with them until that point, but I could reach out to those on a lot of those questions. I could. You could table it or not. Doesn't matter to me.
But she does have the 2022 draft information ready to go, just based on what we said. And I would like to try and get that report submitted. If you want to give her a call, we can table it and you can talk to her. You'll read the email again and go through information. But at least we're at a point now when we have the 2022 ready to go if we approve it.
Well, are we having a special meeting this month for the budget?
I'd like to.
So if he got information back from her in a week or two, whenever we have that meeting, maybe we can just pass it then if you want.
Yeah,
Instead of tabling to the next board meeting.
Yeah, she was very helpful to answer, I didn't really have the questions, I just had a question of where she was. But she was, I'm sure she would answer your questions.
Happy to do that, thank you.
So table it until the special meeting.
Okay,
At the action item section.
thank you very much. That's what we'll do.
Okay.
Thank you for your guidance. Okay, next item up, I'm adding this to the agenda, and this is from Fort Trail Chapter, New York, National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, National Constitutional Address from the early proclamation honoring September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week.
I'll read that one.
Oh, that one, yeah, that's.
You'll put it in the action
That's
items?
right, yes, that's your discussion right now, that's what she's looking to do.
I think we do this every time.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, I just did this last week.
Okay, we'll move on to the action items. Okay, the first item was resolution 32-2025, filing of the town Poestenkill 2022 annual financial report, which we will table
We should take a
until,
vote on that.
okay, we can take it.
Move to table and then take a vote.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Joe. All those in favor of tabling resolution number 32-2025 regarding town 2022 annual financial report
Until our special meeting.
until a special,
Our next meeting.
until a special meeting that we have at the end of September. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Okay, next item is approval of resolution number 33-2025, authorizing a budget amendment to the 2025 Poestenkill Town budget, adding $650,000 to line item 251-204 for replacement of the Redwood Farm Road culvert bridge, which will be paid for with the bond that we are getting in the interim, $390,000 is the first payment. Okay, I'll read the resolution. Resolution resolution 33-2025. Resolution for the purpose of amending the town of Poestenkill's fiscal year 2025 budget and all things generally related thereto. Whereas the town of Poestenkill adopted its operating budget for fiscal year 2025 by the adoption of resolution number 29-2024, and whereas by this resolution, the town of Poestenkill desires and intends to make certain amendments to the budget. And whereas it is necessary to add $650,000 to line item 251204 for construction costs of the Redwood Farm Road Culvert Bridge Replacement Project. And whereas initial payment funds would come from $390,000 temporarily borrowed from T-bill number 12 for highway, which will be replenished upon receipt of the $650,000 bond issued by M&T Bank on September 25, 2025. And now therefore be it resolved that $390,000 should be taken from T-bill number 12 highway and transferred to account 251204, and the town board authorizes the payment of $390,000 to J.H. Malloy Contracting for work performed on the Redwood Farm Road Culvert Bridge Replacement Project in August 2025. All provisions of the town of Poestenkill fiscal year 2025 budget not changed shall remain as originally approved by the adoption of resolution resolution number 29-2024. Prepared and approved as form by Ian H. Silverman. Do you,
I'll second.
thank you very much.
Councilman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Brzez?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilman Weiler?
Just real quick, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it on the floor discussion. Is that okay?
That reflects the $301,000
Coming out.
taken out.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, yes, thank you.
And Supervisor Russell.
Yes, please.
Oh, so you want me to do the next one? Is this the next one now? Resolution 34, 2025.
No, that's just a straight vote. We don't.
Oh, we don't need to read that? Oh, okay.
No, we need to read it, we just don't need to do a resolution.
So I'm just gonna read it.
Please, thank you.
Sorry. So National Constitution Week is a proclamation, not a resolution. Whereas it is the privilege and the duty of the American people to commemorate the anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, the town board of the town of Poestenkill, as of September 11th, 2025, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves.
Thank you very much, Art. All those in favor of going with the proclamation for Constitution Week?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. All right, on the budget transfer, I did not set up the resolution on that, so we have to strike that to our next meeting. Not bad on that. Okay, reports. My report, had the privilege of attending the fire company meeting in September and the planning board meeting in August. Made emergency notification calls to various vendors, got some information back for people to review. I had the pleasure of resident interaction in a couple of situations down here on the hill. Worked on worked with Keith Hankel on Water District number 2 easements, going around to the residents we need easements for and trying to work with them. Received a call from Jennifer at EFC, giving us final approval of funds for that. With budget correction, operation work, and also had the privilege of working with Ian on couple different subjects.
And I continue to work closely with Supervisor Russell on all legal matters affecting the town.
Thank you, Ian.
During the month of August, town clerk took in $9,952.51. Of that amount, $7,228.57 was turned over to the supervisor.
Thank you very much, Sue.
I make the motion.
I second the motion. All those in favor of accepting the town clerk's report for August 2025 activity?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, assessor's report. Michelle's report is listed here, and yeah, on the business that they have taken care of during the month of August.
I read that the star tax refunds are going out just before the election. How convenient. Just commenting.
Okay. I didn't hear that.
Very convenient.
Thank you. Maybe that could have said, tidbit of news there. Okay, water department, Keith submitted his report and usage and chlorine, et cetera, and dig safe activity. Review. The building inspector report, Tracy's report is listed here in the activity that we took during the month of August. Bob Dyer's animal control report is listed. Dogs on Large Street, barking dogs 27, local law questions 3, wildlife calls 2. And then DJ was gracious enough to submit another excellent report detailing all the activity from August 8th through September 5th. Thank you very much, DJ. Okay, now we move to the payment of bills.
I move that we pay the general bills of $40,209.72.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor of paying the general bills?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Oh, no.
Anyone abstaining? 4-1-0.
I move that we pay the highway bills of $400,323.20.
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
And opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you.
I move that we pay the water bills of $14,552.48.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Anyone abstaining? 4-1-0.
And just for reference, we paid $32,603.54 using ARPA funds.
Thank you very much, David. Second public comment period.
I have a couple comments.
No, you didn't.
As I understand, we have 2 outside accounting firms working for the town, correct? And the one is working on the reports for the state, the other one is working on trying to straighten out the bookkeeping system.
Yes.
Do we have an update on the second one?
Yes, we just received a report on the second one. They had completed their work for January through June of 2025. And they came up with a net operating revenue positive of about $535,000 for 2025.
In your opinion, is it gonna make your budget this year easier to work with?
I believe that the work
Are we a little bit ahead of last year, is probably what I'm trying to say.
I believe we are, okay, I'm a biased source, but I believe we are. Yes, sir. We're getting information, we're getting help, and we've learned a lot from last year.
Do we have the department?
Yes, question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
How you all doing? So, I'm here on behalf of my son because he had to work tonight. He couldn't be here. He completed the Eagle project out there in the landscaping. Just wanted to send out a special thank you to Blair Sand and Gravel for the tremendous donation to the Eagle project and to 43 Farms for all the plants. It's a great help, and to all the people Poestenkill that donated money. Just want to say thank you very much. Eagle project was a great success.
We're most appreciative of the work that Jason and you did, and the whole crew. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we do anything else for you?
No, it's great. Yeah.
That look very nice.
Yeah. Just do a reconciliation of the monies that were donated and turn your check over to the town for the difference.
That's very good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Julie, my question first.
Just about getting the department heads requests,
I
and
have-
I've been scheduling like the budget meeting, so.
I have gotten quite a few in. I have a couple more I'm still probably reaching out to, but I have a list upstairs, and I can send you the requests that I have so far. I can email them to everyone for their review.
When are we gonna have our special meeting?
I'd like to have a special meeting on the 25th.
The 25th of this month?
Yes,
So when would you like the department heads to have numbers back to you then?
I
so
would
you
like,
can put
okay, I want
together
to
a
talk to you
tentative
tomorrow
budget?
morning about that, when you might be able to do something.
Well, usually all the department heads get,
I have a request form, I have filled that out, I'm going through it, and I'd like to give that to you tomorrow morning. If that's acceptable to you.
Sue, when is the
Yeah, I
tentative
mean,
budget
I-
due?
By the end of September.
If that works.
What time on the 25th?
7 o'clock usually, right? So do we have to do anything for noticing this meeting?
We will be noticing.
Okay.
We'll be putting a notice out on the board. And do we need to file something in the record?
yes.
Thank you very much.
So you said, what day is it? 27th?
25th of September.
25th, Thursday. Okay. My comments first off, We had a resident who had some issues with the water at our last meeting, and the water manager you were gonna ask him to contact her. And I'm just curious, how was that resolved?
I asked Keith to reach out, to talk to the lady, and I did not get a final report from her. He said he'd try and to talk with her to try and get this, try to explain the situation, because of what went on in Brunswick, how it impacted her.
So as of now, you don't know what happened?
I don't have a final answer on what happened, no.
Okay. The other is, several years ago, I set up a web page with an online newspaper. And I put the first article, I think I put when you donate all those turkeys and stuff for the business association. But I don't think it's really appropriate for me as a town board member to be managing any kind of public newspaper. But if anybody in the town is interested in taking it over, we could have an online newspaper that, if it's kept up to date, might be a source of information for the people in town without any cost at all. It's totally free. And I call it Poestenkill Post. And it's got a good layout to it. It's very easy to do. It's using a similar system to the way the town website runs. And I have brought it up in a few meetings at the business association, but nobody was interested in doing anything with it. Maybe nobody will be, but it's there for anybody who wants to be interested in it. But it possibly could help with our problem of not having any kind of news outlets in this town.
Olivia Harris, stuff, something you can reach out to her, see if she'd be interested. I think her and Andrew did at one point.
Julian.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me try to put something together.
I'd be happy to just turn it over.
Maybe
If
David.
you wanted it. That's it.
Thank you, David. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Thank you, Eric. I second the motion to adjourn. We thank everyone for coming out tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
He's hungry. Hi.
You should be able to make the ball.
Not breakfast.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time to come out to tonight's meeting.
I made the assumption.